Hey guys, what's going on? Emmanuel here, back to another tutorial today. Today we are going to talk about event handling in a ReactJS application. Now, in every application we build, users are going to interact with our application. They're going to submit forms, they're going to click on buttons, they're going to type in on our inputs. So we want to be able to capture those events and actually do something in our application when a user fires an event. Now, there are lots of events in React, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to focus on two: the onSubmit event and the onClick event. Now, let's talk about the onSubmit event. I'm going to go to my components folder and I'm going to create a file. I want to call this form.jsx. I'm going to use our FC React snippet to create a functional component. Then inside this div right here, I'm going to have a form. It's going to have an input in it, and this input is going to be of type search. Then the placeholder is going to be search. This is basically going to be a search input that the user can type in what they want to search on a website. So it's going to have a button. Then this button is going to be of type submit. Then it's going to say search right here. I'm going to save that. Then I'm going to go back to my app.js file, get rid of this h1 tag right here. Then I'm going to call on the form component form. Like you can see right here, is imported from component form. When I return back to my web page, you can see right here, I have a form. Let me zoom that out more. I have a form right here in my web page, and I can type on this form. Now, by default, when you type an item on the web page and click on submit, the form is going to be submitted. Say Emmanuel is here, Emmanuel. Then I want to search for Emmanuel. When I click on search, you're going to notice right now the form gets submitted. Now, when the user submits this form, we want to capture that event and prevent this form from being submitted. Now, we're going to do that in React. We do that using the onSubmit event handler. I'm going to return back to my form component. Then I'm going to say I want to add an event handler here. Now, what event am I trying to capture? I'm trying to capture the onSubmit event. Now, on submit, what do I want to do? I want to run a function called handle submit. Now, this function does not exist here, so we have to create this function. I'm going to come up here in my code. I'm going to say function handle submit. Then this is going to take an event. Right now, this is an onSubmit event, so it's going to take an event. So I'm going to call this event. Then what do I want to do with this event? I want to prevent the default form submission. Say event.preventDefault. Returning back to my web page, you're going to notice right here when I type in Emmanuel. Now, when I try to submit this form, you're going to notice that this form is not going to be submitted because we have prevented this form from being submitted by using the onSubmit event handler in React. Now, returning back to my code, I'm going to log this event to the console so you understand better what I'm doing here. Console.log the events. Then I'm going to go to my web page. Then right here, I'm going to click on the search. Let me type in something, Emma. Then I'm going to click on search. I'm going to notice that our events gets logged to the console. Now you can see right here, say default prevented true because we prevented the default behavior of the form. You can see the other properties are inside this event. You see right here, event type submit and the React name onSubmit. Now that's the onSubmit event handler in React. It gets triggered when a user submits a form in your application. And the next event handler we're going to talk about, the click event handler. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to say I want to create a file called button.jsx rfc. The inside is return JSX. I'm just going to return a button, and this button is going to just say click me. Then in my app.js file, I'm just going to get rid of this form component. Then I'm going to import in my button component. Now when I return to the web page, you can see right now I have a button called click me. Now when I click on this button, you gotta notice nothing is going to happen because the event is not being handled. Now to add an event handler to this button, I'm going to come over to my button component. Then I'm going to say on click. Now when someone clicks on this button, what do I want to do? I want to run the function called handle click. Then I'm going to go up here and actually create that function. I'm going to say function handle click, it's going to take an event. And I just want to log that event to the console.log the event. So I'm going to head over to my console right here. Then when I click on this button, you're going to notice right here our event gets logged to the console. You can see right here all the properties that are available on an onClick event. Now when you scroll down, you can see right here event type, click, React name, onClick. Then we can just say when someone clicks on the button, we just want to say console.log button was clicked. I'm going to save that. Then this time when I click on the button, it's going to say button was clicked. Now I'm actually handling the button click event in my React application. When someone clicks on the button, it's going to log to the console button was clicked. And there's something I want you to take note of when you're making use of event handler in ReactJS. Now you will notice right now when I call on this function, I didn't invoke the function. Now the mistake some beginners would make when you are making use of event handler in React is that they're going to come here in this code right here. They're going to invoke this function right here. Now this might look okay, but it's actually very wrong. Now let's save that and actually check our console. Now when I do that, you're going to notice that when I refresh the web page, you're going to notice that button was clicked was logged to the console even before I clicked on the button. What's happening is that the function is being called even when the button has not been clicked. So when I click on the button now, you're going to notice that I'm clicking on this button right now. Nothing is being logged to the console because the moment I refresh the web page, the function is being fired. So when making use of functions in an event handler, always make sure you don't invoke the function. Just call the function name. That's all you need. Now when I return back to my web page, refresh this, you're going to notice that it only logs to the console when I click on this button. Now there's one more thing I want to talk about here, which is making use of arrow functions when handling an event. Now instead of writing an external function then calling the function in this onClick, we can write the arrow function inside this onClick directly. I'm going to get rid of this. Then I'm going to say when the user fires this button, I want to run an arrow function. Then that function is just going to console.log button clicked. When I save that and return to my web page, I want to refresh my web page. You're going to notice that when I click on the button click is still logged to the console. Anytime I click, button click is logged to the console. And this is actually shorter and faster than writing an external function and calling that external function in our onClick event handler. Now that's event handling in a React application. It's just simply a way we can handle the event triggered by a user in our application. Now when a user clicks on a button or submits a form, we actually want to do something. That's where event handling in React comes to play. Now if you enjoyed this tutorial, give this video a thumbs up. It's going to help the YouTube algorithm push this content to more people who are going to find it valuable. And if you've not subscribed, ensure you do that and turn on the notification bell so you'll be amongst the first persons that get notified when I drop a new tutorial. I'll see you in the next video.